I am giddy. I am bullish on Bitcoin. I need to tell you, I've said it before, but I spoke to some people from Fidelity. I've spoken to other people. I don't want to name names and try to make it sound like anything I'm saying is a quote. These are all my opinions. I read between the lines. But the bottom line, we've already heard, New York Stock Exchange, ICE, is going to offer the system backed to offer Bitcoin to their clients. What is also a little less known is Fidelity, before the end of the year, will make an announcement that they will be offering Bitcoin to their clients. Now, first of all, one thing that's been talked about that people are concerned about is that these banks are going to say, oh, we'll sell you a Bitcoin, and then they'll do fractional reserve banking, and they won't hold one Bitcoin per your claim of one Bitcoin. I don't think that's going to happen. Certainly not at the beginning. They're going to actually hold, if you buy one Bitcoin from New York Stock Exchange or from Fidelity, they're going to actually have purchased and hold one Bitcoin. Now, someday down the road, there could be monkey business that happens, but at the beginning, it looks like this is going to start legit like that. Now, one of the things, so to me, if you think about this, large institutions going out to buy Bitcoin for their large clients, how is this not incredibly bullish for the small limited supply of Bitcoin? So I try to take the devil's advocate view. Well, what could be wrong here? There's a couple things that could go wrong. One is, New York Stock Exchange proposal needs to be approved by the CFTC. They say they want to launch in November pending CFTC approval. So maybe CFTC doesn't think it works. Fidelity, I don't know what kind of approvals they need. I didn't hear anything about that. They're worried about that. I don't know, but now the other concern with Fidelity, one of the things I forgot to really dig in and ask is, well, they're selling to their clients. Well, what kind of clients? Fidelity has a lot of clients. They got a lot of small people, small investors, and they also have big institutional. Who are they targeting, right? If it's like Robinhood, and if you're familiar with this Robinhood exchange, they sell Bitcoin. They're targeting kids, who put in $100. I don't even think, and it's not, that Bitcoin's not redeemable. I don't know if they're actually even holding one Bitcoin per one that someone buys. That's not, Robinhood is not going to move the market. It's the big institutional clients that will. But I think this is who they are targeting, and this is what people have been talking about, that this is coming, it's coming, it's coming, and it's almost here. The big money, and I spoke to someone who does over-the-counter trading, and it works with a lot of family offices. And he says, and I think this is something also I got from the Fidelity that they're targeting. There's a lot of these wealthy family offices that want to put in millions of dollars. They have their issue with custody, which New York Stock Exchange and Fidelity will solve. They also have an issue, this over-the-counter guy is like, he can't find anyone who will sell him enough. Now, maybe he's a small-time guy. He's got a lot of buyers, no sellers. So that's another, when I heard him saying that, it just sounded really bullish to me. I was like, well, why don't they just buy then a little bit if that's all they can get? And they don't want to bother. Either it's big or nothing. That means either the price is going up a lot, or it means somehow, I don't know, where is Fidelity and New York Stock Exchange, where are they going to get their Bitcoin? It's another thing I wish I asked, because there's just not a ton of supply floating around without a big price increase. So we'll see what happens. Now, another thing, I remember when I was talking to Fidelity people, I was like, well, are you starting to accumulate now in order so that you'll have supply when you turn this on? They're like, no, they don't want that risk. And I think the same is true with BACK. Their idea is, we're going to launch, and when a customer says we want one, we're going to go and buy it. They don't want to deal with the risk, and that for them is no risk, because the customer pays and then they buy, and they're making their fees and doing their business. They're not speculating on the Bitcoin, which means there's no pre-buying. When this stuff starts turning on, that's when the demand starts going up, and this stuff starts happening all at the same time. Then you have Wall Street FOMO and everybody starts chasing. I think we're going to see another crazy parabolic move. Strap on your seatbelts. And for those of you who are like, well, it's gonna go to below 5,000, that's gonna be the bottom, and maybe you can predict the bottom. But that's not, what if you're wrong? If you're waiting to get in, listen, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you believe that 1% of your portfolio, whatever percent should be in Bitcoin, then buy a little, buy it over to, look at the chart, 70% off the highs, 9 months from the high, or whatever, how many months from January, where are we? That's when you want to be buying, right? Maybe it goes lower. Great, and then you get a little more, you buy a little bit. If you wait for the bottom and you're wrong, either the bottom already happened or there is a bottom and you miss it, you're going to be buying at 10,000. So just, if you want to be in, you want to be buying at a time, when the chart looks like it is now. So, another thing that I haven't heard anyone talking about is, keep in mind here, when Fidelity launches, or New York Stock Exchange, they're not just going to turn it on, be quiet about it. They're first to market. They're going to say, hey, we have Bitcoin. Hey, Bitcoin is great. Hey, Bitcoin should be a part of your financial portfolio. These are large companies with a big PR budget, and they're going to start promoting the idea. They are financial advisors, unlike me. I can't go place ads, and I'm not selling it either, but these are companies who will start promoting through PR, buy Bitcoin. I think that also has an effect. I honestly haven't felt more bullish. The only time I felt more bullish about anything was, I remember Stellar, right after IBM announced they're working with them, and the thing went from 2 cents to 4 cents, but it was still, I was like, the market cap was still under, it was like 400 million compared to all these billion-dollar shit coins. I was never more bullish about anything at that. I was like, this is a no-brainer. I feel where we are right now with Bitcoin, this thing is a no-brainer. Listen, I don't put all your money in it or anything, but to have a little bit, this looks like a good bet to me. Okay, listen, I'm not a financial advisor, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, was there anything else to say? I think that's it, and I'm going to have a little bit more fun here and give you my price prediction, because just like I always say, trying to predict the price, you can't do it, but it's fun. We do it, okay? So I don't invest based on price prediction, but it's fun to do, and just following, Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies, they follow a fractal, what do they call it? Self-repeating or self-replicating fractal keeps doing the same pattern. And that is parabolic move up of 10 or 20x, followed by a crash of about 70 to 80%, and then the flat boring period. And then another parabolic move up. The flat boring period is a magnitude higher than the previous flat boring period. The parabolic move up, and then the flat period, and then the next parabolic move is much higher than the previous parabolic move up, and it doesn't. Bitcoin's done it 6 times. Stellar has done it, I think it's 3 times, maybe 4, I can't remember. Ethereum's just done it once. If it's a shit coin, it won't do it again. It'll go into the boring period. If it's a shit coin that doesn't increase in adoption, it hits that boring period and it goes forever. That's a pump and dump. Has that move, comes down, and then forever goes towards 0, right? I don't think, well, anyways. Bitcoin, I believe there'll be another one. I think what will happen is it'll shoot up to 100, 200, who knows, maybe 400,000. Granted, the 200 to 400,000, like we saw in December, that could be, a 4-week period. If I want to sell at the top, you better have your finger on the button for the top, right? It's very quick. Whoever sold at 20,000, Bitcoin was, 17 to 20,000 for about 5 days, right? You could have sold at 12 to 15,000 over, maybe there was a couple months, several weeks that you could have sold at that point. But mostly over 10 was you had some time to get if you wanted to sell the high, right? So these things happen quickly, but I think we're going to see a huge blow off that high, and then a crash down to probably 50,000. That's my guess. Take it for what it's worth. And so for those of you, again, who are waiting for the bottom, it's not about whether we're at the bottom or not. It's a question of whether you think this next round of institutional investors are coming. If they are, the difference between 5,000 and 6,000 and 7,000, it will be nothing. You'll look back and laugh. It's like when I think it's really funny when we talk about how I bought Bitcoin at 500, and then I bought some more at 400, more at 300, more at 200. Ha 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 ha. Doesn't matter because it's so much higher now. Well, when I bought at 500 and then it went to 200, it wasn't so funny. But that didn't matter, because what mattered is, would we have that run? And we did. And I didn't put in so much that I lost sleep. I didn't give a shit. Pardon my French. It was good. I held on underwater for like 8 months. I didn't care because I didn't put in too much. That's how you play it. Good luck. It's fun. I think it's going to get exciting within 6 months. Have your seatbelt ready, and I hope your positions are placed.